Topic 9. The Organizational Plan. At the end of this topic, students will be able to understand the importance of developing a management team, understand the different legal forms of organizing a new venture, explain and compare the S corporation and the limited liability company as alternative forms of incorporation, and illustrate the use of board of directors and board of advisors in the support of management. An efficient management team in an organization will be like the backbone of all business activities. Formation of an enterprise requires many legal formalities to be followed. An enterprise can take a format or a style of identity as prescribed by law. The choice depends on each entrepreneur's needs. Whether he wants to do it alone or with a group of individuals is a personal choice. Each legal form, like a sole proprietorship, partnership or corporation, has got its own advantages and disadvantages. Hence, a comparative study will help an entrepreneur to have a better understanding. Board members are the management team who will manage the enterprise using their skills and experience. Board of advisors are experts in special fields who can provide guidance on specific issues. Both these boards can complement each other since their areas of operations are different, and hence selection of an efficient management team will take the organization a long way. How to develop a management team? The organizational plan for the entrepreneur requires some major decisions that could affect long-term effectiveness and profitability. It is important to begin the new venture with a strong management team that is committed to the goals of the new venture. The management team must be able to work together effectively towards these ends. Typically, these expectations can be grouped under 5 areas. Organizational structure. This defines the managers and also the members' jobs and the communication relationship of these jobs with each other. These relationships are usually depicted in a form of an organizational chart. Planning, measurement and evaluation schemes. All organization activities should reflect the goals and objectives that underline the venture's existence. The entrepreneur must spell out how these goals will be achieved and how they will be measured and evaluated. Rewards. Members of an organization will require rewards in the form of promotions, bonuses and praise and so on. So the entrepreneur or other key managers will need to be responsible for these rewards because rewards do have motivating factors. Selection criteria. The entrepreneur will need to determine a set of guidelines for selecting individuals for their rewards. Training. Training on or off the job must be specified. This training may be in the form of formal education or learning skills. So the organization's design can be very simple. That is, one in which the entrepreneur performs all the tasks usually indicative of startup, known as stage 1. A more complex design in which employees are hired to perform specific tasks shows the growth of the organization, known as stage 2. A stage 3 may also exist when the firm achieves a much larger size, say 1,000 employees or more. As the organization grows, the managers or the entrepreneur's decision roles also become very critical for an effective organization. And when a new idea is conceived, an entrepreneur has to initiate development either under his own supervision, that is stage 1, or through delegation, that is stage 2. Building a successful organization. An organization plan should be prepared with job analysis. The job analysis will serve as a guide in determining hiring procedures, training, performing appraisals, compensation programs, and job descriptions and specifications. The steps involved to formulate this would be to prepare a list of necessary tasks and skills. Then determine the number of positions to accomplish these tasks. Then to move on to determine the type of people or persons ideal for these positions. To advertise through proper sources. Then to move on to recruit or employ, train if necessary, evaluate and fix compensation. What is job description? It specifies the details of work to be performed by an employee or an individual. It should contain information on what tasks are to be performed, the importance of each task, and the time required for each task. It communicates to candidates of employment what will be expected of them. It should be written in clear, simple, direct language. And the behavioral traits that may be required for a specific job should also be specified. Job specification. It is the skills and abilities needed to perform a specific job within an organization. For example, the sales manager position may require 3 to 5 years of sales experience, a bachelor's degree in business, experience in sales training, management experience, writing skills, and communication skills. The reporting responsibilities should also be specified in order to avoid future conflicts. What are the legal forms of business? There are 3 basic legal forms. Proprietorship. It is a single owner operating with limited capital and expertise on a small scale. He takes all the risks and enjoys all the profits, but the business will have no continuity on his death or retirement. Partnership. Minimum of members come together to operate a business. They follow agency principle and share all the burden and profits, but conflicts may occur due to difference of opinions. The partnership can be dissolved on either one of their death or retirement. Corporation. It is formed to operate on a larger scale with more owners called shareholders, and legal entity concept prevails. The business has continuity in spite of change in composition of the owners. They obtain dividend as shares in the profits, and the typical corporation is known as the C corporation. S corporation is another concept where the maximum number of shareholders is 75. Transfer of interest only to individuals, and the tax advantage of declaring the firm's income as personal income and taxable on pro rata basis on the shareholders. The tax advantage of each of the forms of business will differ significantly. These differences can also be a major issue in deciding the form of organization by the entrepreneur. Let us compare an S corporation with a limited liability company as an alternate form of incorporation. S corporation is a typical type of a corporation which is special, where the profits are distributed to stockholders and taxed as personal income. The advantages are capital gains or losses from the corporation are treated as personal income or losses by the shareholders, and hence the corporation is not taxed. Shareholders retain limited liability protection of a C corporation. It is not subject to minimum tax. Stocks may be transferred to family members and children above the age of 14. Corporate long-term capital gains and losses are deductible and offset with shareholder personal capital gains and losses. But there are some disadvantages. It must adopt a calendar year for tax purposes. Only one class of stock, that is the common stock, is permitted for this form of business. It may not deduct most fringe benefits for shareholders. The limited liability company. It is a special type of partnership where the liability is limited and continuity options are more flexible. It is new popular entity known as a LLC. It is a partnership corporation hybrid. It has the following features. Instead of shareholders or partners, the owners are called as members. No issue of shares, but each member owns an interest as specified by its articles. There is only limited liability for the members. They can transfer interest with unanimous written consent of other members. The term is usually 30 years but can be dissolved if one of the member dies or all choose to dissolve. Continuity with majority decision is also possible. Let us look at the board of directors and the board of advisors in support of management. So what role do they play? The role of board of directors. They actually serve the following functions: reviewing operating and capital budget, developing long-term strategic plans for the growth and expansion, supporting day-to-day activities, resolving conflicts among the owners or shareholders, ensuring proper use of assets, and developing a network of information sources for the entrepreneurs. The board should normally contain 7 to 12 members with limited terms to allow for infusion of new ideas from different people. The members should be selected on the basis of willingness to serve, their expertise and their commitment to supporting the entrepreneur. Compensation can be by way of stock options or in dollars. This is important to reinforce the obligation. The board of advisors. Such a board could be more loosely tied to the organization and would serve the venture only in an advisory capacity for some of the functions or activities. It has no legal status and hence not subject to pressures of litigation. They meet less frequently or depending on the need to discuss important venture decisions. In a family business, such boards' usefulness is actually felt more. Advisors could be from any one of the following professions: accountants, bankers, lawyers, advertising agencies, market researchers. These advisors may be appointed either internally or sought out externally at regular intervals. So that would be the end of our topic 9. We should be moving on to the next topic, topic 10, the financial plan. Thank you.